Okay guys, this is the test you've been waiting for. So, I got two puncture caps. One with the factory pin, and one with the Home to Vents 24 puncture pin. I will be shooting it in the HDP 50 with 3.5 gram riot balls, 50 caliber, in the factory barrel. This is with the valve block restrictor removed and without a CO2 restrictor. If you've watched in my last video, I did plan on shooting this with factory 11 joule valve and restrictor, but it turns out the 11 joule valve is only made for the HDR and it doesn't fit the HDP 50, sorry. So delete. It is going to be 12 gram Crossman CO2. Make sure I grab the right one here. That is the factory pin. Gassed up. So these riot balls fit pretty loose in this barrel. So this isn't to prove high FPS. This is to prove the validity of this pin. If it can keep the shot count, keep the FPS to a better consistency while still being able to empty full 6 balls without it just falling right off the map, the velocity taking a nosedive. So let's see what it does. Factory pin first. What I'll do is I'll shoot the first one and just get a number off of it. 358. Sorry, I'm just grabbing my balls before I lose them. Let's see, 358 is 20.73 joules. All right, so 20.73. .48. So that was a drop of 10 FPS. That would be a drop of 22 FPS. And then we're going, geez, I already forgot that number. I think that's 14. Or sorry, not 14. Yeah, 14 FPS. And went back up a little. 322. 306. So went up, 10, and then it went back down 14. That was 6, so 7, that was a dry fire. 8, 9, 9. I got 9 trigger pulls with the double delete and the factory pin. FPS remained consistent for the first shot. So, and this is in the eye of the beholder. A 358 to a 348 that's good in my book. Now what I'd like to see is that to continue, gradually decreasing. Obviously your 12 gram is depleting, but I would like to see that maintain a consistent number. So let's, for instance, say 358, 348, 338, 328, 318, so on. You get the idea. I'd like to see a consistent drop. All right, so now this marker I can feel is a little cold. So let's hope it shows an advantage here, even at a disadvantage that this chamber is already pre-cooled from the previous CO2. So I'll load up the 50 cal rye balls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have a fresh CO2. Comes up. Looking for my silicone oil. Right on there. Actually, this is going to be the Home Defense 24, the shallow pin. Alternately, instead of putting the silicone on the tip of the CO2, I have been putting it actually just on the puncture pin. Depending on how you're storing this marker, it don't matter. As long as the oil's inside this cylinder, when you gas this thing up, it vaporizes. Not vaporizes. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. But in any case, you could also put it on the tip there, if whatever's easier for you. So this is the shallow pin. Here it up. Now let's see what it does. The first shot was 358. $342. So let's just quickly do this here. That is 18.92 joules. All right, shot number 2. $338. So that dropped 4 FPS. Shot number 3. That would be 22 FPS. Which actually, I think may be the same, almost the exact same pattern. Well, besides the first shot, very similar pattern. But let's see. 322. So I already lost track. It's a long day, guys. Let's just shoot the next one. That was 322. Shot number 5. 322. So, I mean, you can see already there. It did have the initial. Well, let's finish the 6th shot. Then we'll go and we'll talk about this. 306. Now, on the original puncture pin, I just dry fired. So that was 6 rounds I just fired. So I'm going to count how many shots now. I wouldn't count these as maybe actual measurable shots, but let's just see. So that was, this will be 7 dry fire. 8, 9. So, based on that, so 9 dry fires on the regular factory puncture pin, 9 dry fires remaining on the Home Defense 24 puncture pin. Well, I'm still experiencing some technical difficulties with my telephone / recording device. But it gave me some time to reflect and write some numbers down for you. So you saw the test. This is my breakdown of what I'm seeing. The Umarex pin starts off hot, drops, goes back up, drops. Home Defense 24 pin doesn't start off quite as hot, drops, maintains, drops. Now, I was hoping for a Christmas miracle, but it didn't happen. If you look at the pattern, the numbers, the drops, they are very similar. Almost identical, except for this particular line here, the shot number 4, where the standard pin fell to 312, but the Home Defense pin maintained at 322. Now the follow-up shot, standard pin 322, Home Defense holds steady at 322. Now the issue is that the standard pin already started off a little bit higher, and they both finished identical, 306. So, long story short, add all these numbers up, divide by the number of shots, I get an average of 328.66 feet per second average with the standard Umarex pin. Home Defense 24 pin, add them all up, average 324.333 feet per second. It's just a tad lower. Now, 4 FPS, but here's the thing, is when you actually look at the joules, Umarex pin average was 17.52 joules, and the the Home Defense pin was 17.03 joules. Now, I mean, we're really splitting hairs here. There isn't that much difference here. But as you know, we're all chasing power, and unfortunately this pin didn't show me anything better than this pin was already performing. Now there are a lot of variables that go into testing with CO2, environment, temperature. Now, I'd like to think they all remained the same in my garage. Temperature was consistent. The CO2s have been sitting in the same container inside. And the numbers actually tell me that that is the case based on the drop. The pattern of drop that they follow is so close that it just doesn't say anything otherwise. But I am interested to see what others' results are with this particular pin. Would ammo and barrel play a part? Yeah, it's quite possible. And that was on the factory barrel. So I do have some newer barrels that I'm working on for these smaller rye balls. And I will probably be performing the test with the pin again, you know, to see was there something I'm missing. But in the meantime, if you're looking for power, it's in your barrel. Check out Less Lethal 777 on YouTube if you already haven't. He just did a 12-gram test with a brass barrel.
He showed me at it was about 12.74 millimeters internal diameter. With the steel ball bearing, that is 12.7 millimeters, and he got 30 joules on a 12 gram on a pretty much, I would say, almost factory length barrel. It's I think the factory length was like 4 inch or 3 and 3/4, I think, was the factory length, and I believe his is probably 4 inch or 4 1/4 inch. But in any case, I'll put the link in the description to check that out in the meantime, because 30 joules on a handheld 50 cal, that's decent. I think that's a goal. That's definitely a goal, and I'd like to see that on my markers as well. So barrels are up next. Watch out for those.